Okay, we've got to talk about the Zodiac bombshell revealed on Engaging the Phenomenon the other day. We have that and a lot more UFO news to go over, so get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like, please subscribe, share on social media, and let me know what you think in the comments below. Okay, let's just get right into it. This is from the Juan, I believe. Yep, the Juan doing a great research on the Engaging the Phenomenon with James Ian Doley. He interviewed George Knapp and Colm Kelleher, and he asked them both about specific individuals in a program that he would not name. But of course, it's most likely Zodiac, and so people have been trying to sleuth those names and to see who those guys are and more about that infamous program, the Zodiac. You know, some people think that's MJ12, that's the control group. Whatever it is, it seems to be a real program related to the control group, the UFO control group, those guys who manage UFO crash retrievals and reverse engineering and have been covering this up all these years. So Zodiac seems to be part of that at some level. And Jeffrey Griffith and I think Mary Elliott were the names that James asked Colm and George about, and they refused to give any information. They said, we can't talk about that program, but they admitted there was a program, and they knew who those names were. So, per the Juan sleuthing, Jeffrey Griffith's Hughes Aircraft Council Zodiac participant. There's also aircraft attorney, a client of Mary Elizabeth, and because he's looking at Mary Elizabeth Elliott is the person. This is kind of, I'm trying to make sense of this. Elliott knows something with R is the person. Anyway, whatever. I can't quite read this or make sense of it. But this is, let me take you to the site. This is the subquantum tech.com, and I will link to it, and you can do some sleuthing and see if you can make sense of this. It's hard for me to make sense of this exactly, but I love it that people are trying to sleuth this stuff and figure out these participants of the infamous Zodiac group that we know very little of, but it seems to be a real group and possibly the real name of MJ12 and some aspect of the control group. Speaking of the interview with George and Colm on Engaging the Phenomenon, there was a really important exchange between the participants talking about the link between UFOs and the paranormal. That's something I talk about on the show all the time, is how it's all baked in together. It would be so simple if the UFO phenomenon were distinct and separate from everything else, but it's all baked in together with the other dimensional, paranormal, spiritual, metaphysical, consciousness-based stuff. And George is all over it. So let's listen to George's response.
I'll add this, James, is that you can't separate the two. You can't separate UFOs from paranormal. It might be convenient to do that. And I know that the kinds of cases that we explored in the first book, Skinwalkers at the Pentagon, make people uncomfortable. How do you think Colm Kelleher, Hal Puthoff, Eric Davis, all of them with PhDs attached to their names, how do you think they feel about investigating what seems like poltergeist-type effects associated with UFOs or cryptid creatures? They're not crazy about that. That's not a career builder. It's not something you are comfortable with, but you have to follow the evidence where it leads. And the fact is, that stuff has always been associated with UFOs.
That's right. You have to follow the evidence, and that's what I did in my own UFO journey. I didn't believe any of the woo-woo, paranormal, supernatural stuff at first. I was very against that, and I totally dismissed all of those reports when I started getting into UFOs in 2017 after those 3 Navy videos came out. But everything led me to Skinwalker Ranch because that's where ATIP and OSAP started. And even though I really resisted studying Skinwalker Ranch at first, I was forced to investigate it, and I did a deep dive into Skinwalker Ranch. And of course, with all the weirdness associated with Skinwalker Ranch, that opened me up to a whole wide range of phenomena. that then I then had to explore individually, and eventually even investigate. Started my own ghost hunting group, etc. And I found, I went down just about every rabbit hole imaginable, and I found rabbits just about down every hole. So it's all, so much of this stuff is real. A lot of it gets twisted in mythology and stuff, but the core of a lot of this is real. And it's all baked in together as part of what I call the greater phenomenon. You know, the UFO phenomenon is one element, and ghosts and cryptids and Bigfoot, you know, all that, you know, the psi phenomenon, remote viewing, all of that. They're distinct phenomenon in a way, but they are also all baked in together in the greater phenomenon, and they are all inextricably linked with each other. And we need to not ignore what we don't like or what's uncomfortable if we want to get to the truth behind all of this. Okay, enough preaching. Isn't this badass? This is a lightning strike on a volcano. I think this is in Guatemala. Check that out. That is just badass. That is badass. I think it's the Agua volcano in Guatemala. Love it. That's amazing. That's just badass. Okay, and this is really interesting. This is from Who is Axelrod? And let's just get right into it. Congress has a slightly different way of being granted classified information. This is about congressional classification levels based on need to know. As opposed to having classification levels top secret, compartmentalized SCI information, and then you have modifiers like nuclear material or foreign information related, Congress generally has the right to access classified information, but they also need to have a need to know. If individual members of Congress are going to this briefing about something related to U.A.P., the argument is that they don't have a need to know because they're not part of a committee that is investigating U.A.P., or they're not part of an official congressional action subsequent that would require them to be read in with a need to know. This is why we at UAPcaucus.com are pushing for a select committee on UAP, because the existence of an official subcommittee that's sanctioned within the House or the Senate would grant all the members of that committee the need to know about material related to UAP. So yeah, I thought that was a really great point from Who's Axelrod as to, why, one reason why the committee, the select committee, would be so valuable, because it would give those members of Congress an actual need to know. They would have a congressional mandate by law that they have a need to know about UFOs. I love it. I thought that was a great point. I wanted to bring it to your attention. So let me know what you think about all this UFO news in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this video, give me a big thumbs up. I sure to appreciate it. Smash the subscribe button and the bell to be notified of future videos. You don't miss a thing. Join me on social media. There's Facebook and Twitter links below. Love to see you guys there. If you wanted to support Cosmic Road in an even bigger way, please consider becoming a channel member. See the first link in the description. Channel members are rock stars, and I really appreciate you guys' support. Thank you. Meanwhile, there are plenty of other videos to check out on the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out.